Left, right out, how's it going? September 23rd. We have some more interesting news. Yesterday I went over, I haven't talked a lot about COVID recently because in the beginning when I did, pretty sure that, those videos kind of got scrubbed a little bit, and then a lot of the other guys lost channels, and it's pretty crazy. And then eventually it's like, well, if you can't look it up yourself, I don't know what to tell you. You need to actually do your own research or look for reliable sources and get multiple opinions. Even the people that said well, I wouldn't listen to them. If they call you names and don't back it up, then I don't. You shouldn't be listening to them. But anyway, I passed over this article, and I didn't. Can't believe I passed over and it didn't catch my eye. But yesterday also something else came out with regard to that, and it was a dissident or a what is he? No, why can't a whistleblower, a CCP whistleblower? Of course, he's been in the country for a number of years. He came over asylum. He was for asylum seeking, or what I know. I'm forgetting the terminology, but he came over here a number of years ago. But he still has contacts. He does have people over there. I mean, it'd be reasonable to assume. And he alleges that the CCP actually released this thing during the war games. They had it's like a military game, like an Olympic type thing over there, and a lot of people, a lot of the athletes came down with some minor symptoms that were very reminiscent of COVID. But this was in October 2019, and it kind of falls within that time frame. But he alleges from some of his contacts that, hey, this was actually released on those individuals. That would bring a whole nother level of intention into this, as if that evidence isn't piling up already. Now, how do you verify this? I don't know, because I guess you'd have to go back and really look at what these athletes experienced. Of course, you're talking about some of the people that more than likely would just have this like as a minor cold and get over it, right? But some of their symptoms were very along the lines of COVID-like, or COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2 19, or COVID-19 symptoms. But it comes out at the same time that this drastic DARPA thing leaks out. And, I don't know why we don't have a Nancy Drew type timeline, or not Nancy Grace type timeline, and people asking some serious questions. It just, it seems like this has been glossed over by the media. I was listening to CNBC today, getting, basically the market gist. I was at the gym and they have that on there. And they were talking about President, whatever the CCP, President, whatever his name is, I can't pronounce it. The Chinese Communist Party head is running the country, President Z, or whatever his name, how you pronounce it. And hey, they're pretty much giving him accolades of how they're dealing with this Evergrande thing, and didn't mention anything about the COVID situation, or that these documents have come out and that there might be a little bit more to what the Chinese had to say. And of course, you take, like I told you yesterday, a number of databases altered, samples destroyed, wiping of information with regards to that, disappearing of people, the old Sicilian fishing trips for a couple of, a few scientists that came out early on this. And it so aligns with this too, because it was about this time frame when these scientist whistleblowers were coming out, because they themselves experience similar symptoms, or had some of these cases, or presumably COVID cases within there, and they knew what they were doing, and they knew that the possibility that this thing had escaped or was released, and they came out and they are wiped clean from the ether. And in fact, you need to do like a deep internet search and see if they haven't been just wiped off the internet. Because I don't know how tight Google is with China at this point, but I know some citizens in China literally have their whole footprint wiped clean if they get on the wrong side of the CCP. So it'd be interesting to look into that. But anyway, the other thing, because I'm more the finance guy, we had the Fed meeting and everybody was looking at that. So the market, here's what I get out of that. So the Evergrande thing, as we see, like right now the Dow's up like 600 points or something like that, which is just insanity. But that Evergrande thing, I don't, like I said, I don't think it's that, it doesn't seem to be that straw, right? It doesn't, it just doesn't have the signs aren't there. It's not the canary in the coal mine, but it is a reverberation in in this long trend line that we're going up there. These little blips that pop out, these little data points that you look at as warning signs. And yeah, it is. You can see where this road leads a little bit. It's giving you a little bit of a thing. But to me, that market sell-off was more of, yeah, let's see what the Fed's going to do. And I think the market, they got enough of what they wanted, obviously, because the Fed, they held the interest rates, their Fed fund rates. Essentially it's zero to a quarter point or whatever, however they're rolling it. But also the monthly asset purchases, which is a big deal in my opinion, because a lot of that they're backstopping treasury markets and mortgage-backed. They're in the mortgage-backed securities, so they're actually purveyors of some, not just on the interest rate side of things, but purveyors of some of this insane housing market, within regards of their $40 billion worth of MBS that they're buying monthly. But not to mention that they manipulate the interest rates and they drive it as well through that. And this is some way you wouldn't manipulate interest rates, is by going in and buying these securities. But you're also allowing these banks to make maybe more generous loans than they normally would, because they can just offset those securities onto the bank. Almost like, remember in the financial crisis, they were talking about setting up some kind of bank to hold all the bad assets. I mean, and essentially this is kind of what it is, But let's see. Yeah, so they leave that. They didn't say when they're going to stop their monthly purchases, which once they do, I think that's when you're going to see something happen, because we got a $3.5 trillion budget trying to get rammed through, not to mention whatever other spending bills. So we're, massive budget deficits, which have to be monetized by the Fed. So and through some of these QA operations, that's how they're going to do it. That's how they're doing it. So once you pull back on whatever 120 billion or 80 to 100 billion dollars a month of asset purchases, I don't know if there's going to be a market to come in and fill those shoes in order to keep the interest rates low on the government debt. But we shall see. I don't think so. I think what's going to happen is once they get to a certain level there, or if they try to bump up the Fed funds rate, they might bump it up and you actually see a positive move, because that's not a huge deal. But once you take away the punch bowl of 120 billion a month, start tapering that out, you'll start seeing some things start cracking. And then they'll raise the rates maybe a little bit. And once they get to a certain point, so last time they got to about 2.25, and then things just started unraveling. Like this time we've gone so far down this road, I doubt they even get to a full point on this thing and taper and build a tape of their asset purchases without having to back off on it, because things will start to unravel, and then you'll see the massive amount of money printing again, if we haven't already. But it's going to be interesting. So they haven't had a timeline. So that's why I think the market's acting so positively. It's because the timeline. Okay, well, to me, there's a lot of guys that want to, but there's plenty of time within an uncertain timeline for things to continue to post bad numbers that justify even further extending the asset purchases and keeping interest rates ultra low beyond what the market is. And then you also have the fact that, like we brought up the other day, that they're investigating themselves within their insider trading. It's, like I said, it's the most corrupt institution on earth. It's everything you think the mafia is, rolled into one, only they don't protect, their own people. Their own people are super wealthy individuals and other bankers. Anyway, I'll keep it there. I want to keep this one short today because, there's a lot of stuff going on. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.